Hello my dear friends, you're on the Military Summary channel and today we will discuss situation in Ukraine on the 30th of June. Today we have a lot of very interesting updates, so let's start. But before we start, I would like to discuss with you one important topic. I want to finish the discussion that we started yesterday about the NATO and about the joining of Sweden and Finland of this alliance. Yesterday I gave you my projection about the official reaction of Russia about this question. To tell very short, my projection was that the Russians don't care about this alliance, about this joining of this alliance by Finland and Sweden. It was my kind of projection that we can say that in current political situation, nobody cares in Russia if Sweden and Finland are going to join NATO. Of course, there was a lot of comments about this situation, about my understanding of this situation, about this projection. Of course, a lot of people wasn't agree with me, and I understand, I respect your opinion, by the way. There were a lot of interesting notes, a lot of interesting opinions, very interesting. I can say that I have upgraded myself. But it was yesterday, on the 29th of June, we can say. Let's operate with dates. And on the 13th of June, like today, the day of this video, Putin gave his own understanding and his own attitude about this question. You can find the video of his answer about his attitude regarding the joining of NATO by Finland and Sweden. But I have his speech on the screen. You can see this. And yes, you see. So his answer was as follows. We do not have such problems with Sweden and Finland, which unfortunately we have with Ukraine. We, he means Russia. We have no territorial issues and disputes with Finland and Sweden. We have nothing to worry about in terms of Finland and Sweden's membership in NATO. They want to join NATO. Please, you can join, no problem with this. Only they should clearly imagine that there were no threats to them before, but if military contingents and infrastructure are deployed there, well, then we will have to respond in a mirror manner. So it was a question, it was Putin answer. And you can see this video, it was exactly as I told you. So not like, no aggression in his words. So if you can see him, you would understand that he doesn't care about the situation totally. So you see that that my projection and the thing that he said this morning is almost the same. The only difference in my projection and the thing that he told us is that I said that people from Finland and Sweden is very nice guys. Nice people are living there. But Putin didn't tell that. Of course. So I can do according on basis of all this situation and his speech. I can do one important conclusion, very important conclusion. I'm 100% sure about this. And now I understand, and now I think that Vladimir Putin follows Military Summary channel. He watched the previous video, he read all the comments, and he decided this morning to support his favorite author and his favorite channel. Obviously. Now let's start with the situation on the front lines. Today, the situation is very interesting. Let's start a little bit from Kharkiv area. If we're talking about the Kharkiv, there was one important update that the Russians took Dementivka. This morning they took Dementivka. If we're talking about the Ukrainian military report, they didn't tell about Dementivka anything. So the Russians are pushing, and they're pushing towards Kharkiv. The heaviest clashes are in Udy. The Russians are pushing here. They took Dementivka by the evening. And of course, they're somewhere near Russkie Tishki. And of course, our famous Stary Saltov and the bridgehead on the east side of Seversky Donets River here. So the Russians are pushing all along the front line. Now let's move to the south. Some updates are in this area again. The Ukrainians still tries to cross the river using the pontoon bridges. If you remember, a few days ago I told you that the Russians took Nortsevka, but after that I haven't heard anything about this. So I must say that there is a very high risk that the Russians lost this bridgehead in this area, or maybe they're in a forest and this town is something like in gray zone. Not just like in gray zone, but nobody dares to enter the town because anybody who enters the town might be mined or shelled or so on. So we see that the only gray zone is in the town Zaliman, and there are heavy clashes there, but just using commandos and scouts. There is no like heavy tank battles. The Russians are shelling, then the scouts entering, and so on. So they try to do something, because these pontoon bridges near Protokopivka, Chepil, Zavgorodny, Petrovsky is very annoying, and the Russians want to solve this issue as fast as possible. If we're talking about Izum bridgehead, there is no updates exactly in Izum area. By the way, I published on my Telegram channel very interesting story. You need to read it. Some soldier from this area who took part in taking, as I remember, Dovginke or Bogorodichne, one of these towns. He wrote his story, and it was very interesting. While reading the story, you think that you are there. So it's not very big, it's like few posts in Telegram, but it's so interesting. So there's no changes here. If we're talking about Slaviansk bridgehead, you see that the Russians took Sidorov finally, another confirmation. Furthermore, there is a lot of sources of information, and one of them is, I can say, the Ministry of Defense of DPR, Donetsk People Republic. They do some reports, and usually they show a map, and on this map they show the towns, new towns that they, according to their story, they return control over. So Slaviansk is one of these towns, not Slaviansk, sorry, Sidorova. You see this yellow. You see this yellow title means that Sidorova. That means that the Russians returned Sidorova. To be more precise, DPR returned Sidorova. So I think that tomorrow this map will be updated, because it's very fresh news, and as I understand, the map is not updated for now. Now we are moving towards our Lysychansk agglomeration. The situation there are very bad. The Russians attack all along the front lines. The thing is, why are they doing this? First of all, the main idea that the Russians need to do one important thing. They need to fix Ukrainians. Because Ukrainians start retreating, there are a lot of rumors, a lot of talks, a lot of information. Some sources say that in Lysychansk in town there are around 1,000 soldiers. Another sources are saying that there are 3,000 soldiers. Some sources saying that Novodruzhevsk, this town, is the headquarters of Ukrainian garrison in this area. So like the main base where the main commanders are there. And this is the reason why the Russians start attack towards Privilya. They need to fix as much as possible, because they need to encircle. If they are going to attack just in one direction, for example from the south, the Ukrainians will see that the situation is bad. So let's move from this area step by step and so on. But I see that they're attacking from every direction, from Privilya. According to information, just half of Privilya is under the Russians, so there are still forces, Ukrainian forces, and those forces are fixed. That means that there is no way to escape, or they need to leave there at least some rear guard who will stay there, and another one will move from this area, and so on. If we're talking about oil refinery is under the Russians. Furthermore, there are street fightings in Zolotorivka. In this town, so the Russians are moving to the north, and their main idea, of course, to cut the roads near Belogorovka. To be more precise, if we take a look at this map, and if we take a look at our Zolotorivka, so the Russians want to cut everything that moves here by establishing fire control, because they won't be able to establish physical control. There are forces in Grigorievka, Serebryanka. There are a lot of forces, of course, and the main idea, of course, to back up the forces that are leaving Lysychansk agglomeration. So the Russians in Zolotorivka. Lysychansk is already under the Russians. It's like 100% thing. Furthermore, Volovcharovka is under the Russians, and the thing is that the Russians are already in Lysychansk agglomeration, and somehow they managed to take this plant, this industrial zone, this one. We discussed this industrial zone a lot of time. I told you many times that if Ukrainians do want to protect and keep this area as long as possible, of course, this plant, oil refinery, and this plant were like their fortress, the main place where they were planning to protect. But as soon as Lysychansk oil refinery falls, everything collapsed, and now the Ukrainians are doing just one thing. They're trying to find a solution, how to escape, how to evacuate, and how to save their lives. That's it. And I don't think how long these forces are going and are planning to protect and to stand. Maybe some of them will be fixed so hard, so they will be forced to fight in Lysychansk because they don't have any other options. But for now, the situation is critical, and the Russians are pushing the Ukrainians from every side, from Zolotorivka, from oil refinery, from Vovcharovka, towards Malarizantsevo, towards this plant, from this bank of the river towards Privilye. So everything, they're trying to fix everything. Now let's move further. If we are talking about Bakhmut, the Russians are pushing, and today we got update that they took Klinovo, and there is heavy clashes around Pokrovsk. There are no clashes in Solidar, no clashes in Bakhmut, and of course the Russians' main idea, as we discussed in my big video with projections, they want to take Klinovo, and of course they want to move to Zaitsevo and to encircle the south and Ugledarskaya power plant. And they are trying to do this, and they're doing this. If we are talking about Avdiivka, there is no changes. If we take a look at Donetsk, there are some shelling, but as you can see, the picture of shellings a little bit changed, because you see that shellings are on the edge of this town, and mainly the Ukrainians, at least these days, today, they try to shell places where the Russians are. Their DPR forces, their military objects, and so on. So, as you can see, during this day, there were no shelling of central part of Donetsk, of civilian part on the east or south parts. If we are talking about Ugledar, the Ukrainians stopped. If you remember, there were some offensive operation towards Yegorovka, and if you take a look at the West sources map, you're going to see that Yegorovka is marked to the Ukrainians, and if you take a look at the Russian sources map, Yegorovka is under the Russians. So I think that this town is in the gray zone, because there was some confirmation from many sides that maybe in the morning one side controls the town, but by the evening another side controls the town. Who knows? I think that sooner or later we're going to receive some updates, because we understand that as soon as Lysychansk falls, the Russians will have a lot of free forces that after a small rest will be able to push any direction in this area. And of course, the most important, I think, part for today is Snake Island. You know that the Russians announced that they're leaving this island, and the main reason why they did this is, of course, like to show that they want to give a signal to the world that they're not so bad as they're shown in the West media and so on, and they give a chance and opportunity for Ukrainians to trade with their wealth and so on. So they left the Snake Island. This is official version of Russian Federation, and it's possible. Yes, it's possible. Why not? So they were in the island. The island was shelled heavily. They are not refusing and are not confirming this information. They confirm, and there was a lot of video and photos of shelling of this island, and they left the town. The thing is that if we're talking about the Ukrainian version of the situation, during the last few weeks, the Russians reinforced this island, and they moved there a lot of anti-air system, like Pantsir. They brought to this island at least 3 systems, and the main idea of those systems was to protect this island from Bayraktars, from drones, from rockets, from everything that in the air. And they were pretty successful for a while. For a while, they were pretty successful. Furthermore, I think that this these stories is the stories of the same picture of those stations that were destroyed by the Ukrainians. I think that maybe there were some military equipment on those stations, because as soon as those stations falls, 3 days after the Russians announced that they're leaving the Snake Island. So something is not so simple as it was published in previous versions of this situation. Furthermore, of course, the Ukrainians, according to their sources, were using the West weapon, and using those West weapons, they managed to destroy all those anti-air systems. And as soon as anti-air defense of this island falls, the Ukrainians start to bomb this area heavily with Bayraktars, with other systems they have. And of course, the Russians took right decision to leave this island. I'm not sure if Ukrainians are able to take control over this island. There was some insight from the President Zelensky office that his order was not just to push Ukrainian the Russians from this island, but also to make some paratrooper operation or something like this. But so we'll see. I'm not sure that Ukrainians are going to do this. Maybe just for a picture, just for a media victory, they will try to find a moment when they are able just to bring there some helicopters or boats and to show the Ukrainian flag on this island, and that's it. And after that, they will take everything and go back. Maybe this is the thing that we're going to see in the very near future. And before we finish, I would like to give a special thank to Mr. Lira for his help. He helps me very much. Also would like to give a special thank to Alexander Mercury's for mentioning my tactic I invented of retreating through the forest. Also would like to remind and to thank DPR for mentioning my channel and his channel. All these guys are very cool. They're very cool. They're the best. You need to know this, and I wish they have a very great audience and a very great success in their life. And that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel and put your likes. Military Summer channel reminds you that we condemn any violence in Ukraine. Please join my Patreon and have a good day. Bye bye.